in your research, can you explain to us why, when I say to parents, failure is normal, is part of, the growth process of children and even us as adults, they kind of flinch, like, no, but
Yeah.
I want my
Yeah.
child to succeed all the
Right.
time. Why do you think the word failure is such a triggering word for so many parents?
Well, and I have to actually, to answer that question, step back a second and say the answer to your first question is also that as annoyed as I was at the parents of my students, I was doing the exact same thing to my own kids. And that was the slap in the face that was really humbling, because I really thought, I grew up as a very independent kid, and I really thought of myself as the kind of person who was raising independent, confident children, competent and confident children. And I had that flinch moment where I was like, oh my goodness, I'm doing that thing too. And I was raising kids who, one of my kids in particular was really struggling with some learned helplessness that I did that to him. He learned it because I taught it to him as his parent. And that was really hard. And I think the problem is that we've heaped, so the media and we as a culture have heaped so much pressure on parents, and and a lot of them, a lot of these things are myths, like kids are never going to get into college and we can never expect them to do, yeah, economically as well as we did. Some of those things are true for, like, the economics, we're at a place where that's really tough. But the media is, in order to get a rise out of people and keep them, to stop them from changing the channel, they make things sound as dangerous and perilous as possible, because that's what makes us retweet. That's what makes us email an article to someone, is that sense of rage and just completely being upset with and protective of our kids. So it's absolutely predictable. Not only do we not want our kids to fail because we want them to have every option available to them, it's also excruciating to watch our kids be frustrated with something, right? Because we don't want them to feel stupid. We don't want them to feel less than. We don't want them to feel like they can't do something.
Yeah.
And so we tend to want to end that frustration because it makes us uncomfortable. But that frustration, that's struggling with something and having a sense of, not comfort with frustration, but a sense of, no, no, wait, I can do this. I can figure it out. That actually is a really important part of the research on autonomy supportive parenting versus really directive parenting, because it looks like kids who have the ability to be frustrated for a moment or two and not just give up, not just go boneless and give up, those are the kids who actually learn better.
Mhm.
Because I, as a teacher, need my students to be able to, handle a simple subject, and then I take it a little further and I challenge them a little further, and then I give them something that's just beyond their ability level, but they have all the tools to figure it out. And I need them to be able to stick with that to get to an end result. And I need them to be able to stick with these things called desirable difficulties, because that's where the deepest learning happens. And if we're so directive and we're so helicoptery, or whatever it is you want to call the overbearing parenting style that a lot of parents have, we make it so that our kids don't have to be comfortable with frustration, right? Because we're going to be right there to fix it for them. And those kids just don't learn as well because they don't have the opportunity to take advantage of those situations where either desirable difficulties or a little bit of challenge that makes them sort of synthesize a couple of different concepts to apply it to a novel situation. So the very things we're doing for kids are actually doing it, making it so they're less able to learn. And so, of course, it's flinchy. But on the other hand, I have to somehow convey to parents that, okay, so if what you want is a kid who's really successful because they are innovative and creative in their thinking and able to think on their feet, overly directive or controlling parent is not going to get you there.
Mhm.
So what do we do now? And,
Yeah.
it's not a matter of when, it's not a matter of if a kid is going to fail at something, it's a matter of when. And it's not that I don't want kids, it's not that I want kids to fail. I want kids to have what we call a positive adaptive response to failure, as opposed to pretending like it never happened, denying it, blaming it on someone else, that kind of thing. I want them to say, oh, okay, so that didn't work. What do I leave behind and what do I take forward with me for my next try? That's how kids learn. That's how kids become.